Well, all right, I'm live on Facebook, live on 2 YouTube channels, and my name is Sean. This is Federal Prison Talk, and you click on over the comments, see if anybody's in the room. One or two people. So anyways, guys, trying to get, what's the word, consistent. So I thought on Tuesdays I'd do my little news stories. I've been experimenting with them. I think I got all the kinks worked out. Stopping the echoes, know how to show it on the screen without freezing. Got rid of the 4K camera, which is made in China, and it can stay in China. So those 4K cameras, they record in 4K, and I find out nobody watches you in 4K. It's like I'm in Albuquerque, okay? We don't have a 5G tower probably in the whole state, but they're selling 5G phones. What good is it? So what good is a 4K camera if nobody's going to watch it? And then I heard a friend of mine did some research. He goes, they don't stream in 4K. They only record in 4K. You got to have some video chip processor thing all hooked up. And so anyways, done with that. Got my little webcam thing clipped onto my laptop. And here I am. Anyways, I'm hoping somebody calls in live today and we could just shoot the breeze. In the meantime, I got some news clips. I started with that, and TJ sent me a little news clip today about a person in a camp in Tucson, Arizona, who had a gun and fired it in the visiting room. So I'm telling you, all these camps are going to go on high security. Anyways, if you got cigarettes and you're in a camp, man, smoke them while you got them because they're going to be shaken down. They're going to check every camp, every crevice, every cranny for a gun now. Probably for the next 90 days, at least until this story kind of fizzles out. So, we got Kathy's in the room. Hey, good evening, Kathy. How you doing? So let me start with show you a news clip here. I think I know how to do this now. And this is just a federal prison news story. I got a few things to bring up a little later. And I'm going to launch a new channel. I have a private channel. Well, it's called Sean Cowgill. I've had it for, 15 years. I've had this channel. It's got everything. It started off with pictures of my family and karaoke and all that, but it's got 800 subscribers. So I'm going to turn it into a sci-fi, UFO, time travel, kind of like Coast to Coast with Art Bell, but the next generation. And I need to come up with a title. Maybe you guys can help me out with that. But in the meantime, let me show you this news. So let's see here. All righty. Get to it here. All righty. Cherokee man sentenced to 20 years. We'll start with that one. Let me make sure I got everything working here.
Man has been sentenced to 20 years in federal prison after he pleaded guilty to shooting at law enforcement officers. The OSBI says Cherokee County deputies and the Cherokee Nation Marshal Service were serving an arrest warrant at Bradley Mouse's home in July. That's when they say Mouse began shooting. No officers were hurt.
That's just a quick one. So that was, I guess, on an Indian reservation, and that's federal. So that makes it federal. Hey, Nicholas is in the room. What's he saying? Sean, I can drink alcohol. I can drink alcohol on this supervised release. I'm getting UAs once a month and a drug class once a week. Drug class. Yeah, some people on probation, you're allowed to drink alcohol. Some not for a year, some the whole time. It just depends. If you went to RDAP, usually that's in your paperwork and you're not going to be able to drink or do any kind of drugs, legal or not, for the whole time you're on probation. But good for you. Have a shot on me, man. Drink up. Yeah, I know a lot of guys that can drink on probation and the feds. And even in state parole, I knew guys that could smoke pot and drink because in California, because they were both legal. They couldn't do any other drugs, but they were allowed to smoke pot on parole. So, it just depends on your charges and your background and stuff. Streets of Atlanta. He asked, can he? Oh, can I? I didn't, my eyes. Can I drink alcohol on this supervisory? So you're going to have special conditions. So you should have got the paperwork from your PO saying your conditions. I mean, it'll tell you can't go outside of 50 miles from your city, things like that without permission. You can't work certain types of jobs. If you had any kind of wire fraud, you might not even be allowed to have a computer, things like that. So you got to ask your PO. But some people can and some people cannot. Nick, I don't think you did any time, so you didn't do the RDAP. You may well be able to drink, but that'll be under your conditions of your supervised release. Everybody's different, guys. Everybody's different. All right, let me try another news clip here. I got one more news clip, then some articles to read. This one is about a St. Joseph man, got 15 years in federal prison.
Was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison without parole today, according to the United States Department of Justice. 40-year-old Matthew Crossfield of St. Joseph was sentenced for possessing methamphetamines and heroin to distribute and illegally possessing firearms as well. He pled guilty to 2 counts of possessing methamphetamines with intent to distribute, 1 count of possessing heroin with intent, and 2 counts of possessing firearms in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. We have information on this arrest on our website at newspressnow.com.
The first thing that grabbed me about that article is he said 15 years without parole. They haven't had parole in 20 years in the federal system. So Mr. Newscaster or whoever wrote this article, you don't know much about the feds. They don't have parole. They haven't had parole in 20 years. Why mention it? Okay, maybe 15 years. Well, he said without parole. They don't offer parole. They haven't offered it in 20 years. So, 15 years, 2 counts of drugs or 2 counts of guns, drugs, and meth and heroin. I've known guys that got 3 years for that, and they didn't tell on anybody. So this guy probably had a pretty big criminal history, which they're not saying. So if you're going to report something, give us the background on the person. What was his criminal history category? I bet you they don't even know what that was. And 15 years, is he going to go to a penitentiary? He's not going to go to a camp because you got to have 10 years or less. He might go to low. He might go to medium. And chances are 15 years, he had a big criminal history. I imagine it's not his first time. So they didn't do a very good job reporting. And that's just to scratch the surface stuff. So that's kind of my take on it. Let's see. I got some more comments in the room. Gangish is in the house. Gangish, I got the link up there. Terrell, Terrell. Hey, Sean, good evening. Gangish, you want to come on? I got the link. Actually, I'm feeling, anybody want to come on? Anybody at all? I don't really care. Big Weavy has a channel called Doing Time with Big Weavy, and he lets different people on. And all you guys have been on my chat room for some of you guys for a couple of years. So anybody wants to come on, let me see. I'll put the link again. I need some company, guys. There's the link again. Did it show up? There's the link again. Anybody wants to come on? Anybody at all? I'll take a chance. I can always hit the button and bleep you off. But Genghis, you want to come on? Feel free. Let me catch up on the comments. I was up to Terrell. Oh, Nick says it does have special conditions on it. What are they, Nick? Did you read them? Of course it has special conditions. Did you read the one about alcohol? They usually list that one for sure. If not, call your PO and ask, okay? Terrell says, hey, Sean, good evening. And Nick says, can't wait till I can smoke weed again. That one, the feds never give you that one because weed is still illegal federally. So they're not going to give you that one till you get off probation. I was almost going to say till you get off parole. Like I said before, Feds haven't had parole in 20 years, guys. Terrell says, Nick, I was able to drink, but not obsess. Oh, yeah. They say drink, but not to excess. I don't know what excess means. Maybe you can have like 2 beers and still legally be under 0.08 and drive. If you're 0.07, I wouldn't get in the car. They have wet, reckless laws and things like that, and buzzed laws and stuff. Stay at home if you're drinking, guys. Stay at home if you're drinking, period. Whether you can or cannot, legally or legally, stay at home if you're drinking. Or take Uber or take Lyft. Richard is in the house. Let's see. Let me get up to Richard. Terrell says, these words, their words, not mine. Yeah. Nick. Yeah. Richard says, with respect, always from Dublin, Ireland. You know that Dublin is the biggest city in the world, Richard. Because it's Dublin every day. Cehi Wiltu. Tamagama. It's a little Gaelic Irish there for you. You know, they're always after me Lucky Charms there, you know. Do they have Irish Spring and Lucky Charms? I spent 2 years in Connemara, a little town called Carna, about 15 kilometers from Clifton, in Connemara there. So that was back in 1980, 81. But I spent a couple of years there. I finished my last year high school in Galway on Sea Road. It was a Jesuit school in Galway City. So, Richard, I do know a little bit about the Irish there, you know. Half my family's from there, you know. You know. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Anyways, a little Irish there humor for you. Richard says, respect Genghis. Yes. Respect Big Weavy. And my husband got 20 years for drugs, but child molesters get less. Oh, Kathy, do I want to open this can of worms? I mean, you're absolutely right, Kathy. Yeah. So, you know, you might sell drugs to somebody and you say, well, that drugs ruined that person's life. Whatever your argument is, you rape a little 5-year-old kid, an 8-year-old kid, a 12-year-old kid, you've ruined his life forever. Okay. You're a sick motherfucker for doing that. And YouTube, Kathy, I gotta watch it because this is a very touchy subject for me. But I say an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. So cut it off. You know what I'm saying, Kathy? That's the only punishment for these guys. Cut the thing off. Okay? And then give them life, and I'll pay. So for one, I say give them life. If my tax-paying dollars are going to put them away for life, cut the thing off. I don't want them to have any fun while they're in prison. Okay, cut the thing off and then give them life, and I'll gladly use my tax-paying dollars for that. And that's the only punishment. After a fair trial, I know some people are wrongly accused. I've heard of women calling their ex-husband a child molester and labeling him, and he's completely innocent. He's labeled that for life. So a fair trial, but if they're guilty, cut the thing off. Maybe hang them publicly or give them life. And that's my answer. And I gotta calm down. Breathe, brother, breathe. Because if I get started on this subject, Kathy, surprised YouTube hasn't shut me down yet. Let me breathe. Yeah, but you touched on something, Kathy. Whenever somebody like that, I've only had maybe 2 calls from those guys. I hang up the phone. I block their number. I tell them, unsubscribe, leave my channel. Don't ever come back. If I catch you anywhere on my channel or comments or anything, I'm blocking you forever. But yeah, again, I got to breathe. That's a subject, really, because it happened to me when I was 5 years old, guys. So I can never forgive a man or a woman for doing that to a little kid, ever. I can never forgive somebody, ever. Maybe he can, I can't. Anyways, let's catch up on the comments. TJ, where can I do some community service? There's always the Boys and Girls Clubs. There's senior centers. There's always a food bank, always needing people. Alcoholics Anonymous, you call them up. They always have stuff going on in their central offices, things like that. Narcotics Anonymous, your schools. Go volunteer at the cafeteria at your nearby high school and clean the tables. I mean, there's all kinds of community service. Food banks, though, and senior centers always need people, especially the senior centers, guys. Nobody really goes to the senior, and you're probably going to clean bathrooms and stuff at the senior center. Somebody's got to do it. Why not you? Makes you a better person. That's my advice. TY, don't know what that means. Richard says, I know it will. And he's talking to, Richard is talking about Connemara, Richard. I'm thinking, you're talking about Connemara. Kehiwiltu. You know, that just means how you guys doing. I won't say Pogamahone. You can try to Google that one. I bet you won't come up. And Richard, I didn't mean Pokemon to you. I didn't mean Pokemon to anybody, but anyways, I'm not going to tell you what that word means because, again, YouTube might shut me down. Kathy says, right, yeah, that's right. All right, let me get to the story that TJ. It was you that sent me that, TJ, right? So there was a guy at a camp shot a gun, and let's hear more. Let me pull this one up here. Let me get it over here. Let's see here. I'm pulling it up on my other screen first, and then I'll get to it. So let's see here. I'm learning this. All righty. Federal inmate tried to shoot a visitor at Arizona prison. That's the one. All right. Here we go, TJ. Here we go. Let's see here. Share screen. Share audio. Let me mute myself so there's okay. Give me just a second. I'm pulling it up. All right, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up, guys.
Federal inmate tried to shoot visitor at Arizona prison camp. Washington, AP, a federal prison inmate who was able to obtain a firearm at a prison camp in Arizona pulled out the gun in a visitation area and attempted to shoot a visitor in the head, the Associated Press has learned. The weapon misfired and the female visitor was uninjured in Sunday's incident at the Federal Correctional Institution in Tucson. The incident marked a major security lapse and massive breach of protocol, raising serious questions about the security practices in place at the Bureau of Prisons, which is responsible for more than 150,000 federal inmates. The Bureau of Prisons tells the AP that the inmate attempted to fire the weapon, which had been concealed in the prison. But the weapon did not fire and no one was injured. The incident happened at a minimum security federal prison camp, most of which don't even have fences and house inmates the Bureau of Prisons considers to be the lowest security risk. Officials said the inmate was restrained and the firearm was seized. Federal officials have launched an investigation. The Bureau of Prisons has been plagued by chronic mismanagement, misconduct, and a severe staffing crisis. A new director was brought on earlier this year as Justice Department officials attempt to reform the agency. Federal prison camps were originally designed with low security to make operations easier and to allow inmates tasked with performing work at the prison, like landscaping and maintenance, to avoid repeatedly checking in and out of a main prison facility. But the lax security opened a gateway for contraband, such as drugs, cell phones, and weapons.
So I got to give this reporter a little credit. She did some research on camps that they don't have fences. And let's see. Because a lot of people don't know that a camp doesn't have a fence. And she said most camps don't have a fence. I think 5 camps have fences. I'm not sure the reason why. Maybe they used to be a low or a medium, or for some reason there's about 5 camps that have fences. I think there's 55 camps. I could be wrong. Might be 45 camps out there. Like I said, I think 5 have fences, but most do not have fences. So to get a gun into a camp, it's as easy as it's walking about 100 feet to the road. In the housing facilities that you live in camps, they don't ever lock the doors, ever. I don't think they're allowed to. So there's supposed to be a truck or a car that drives around this perimeter and checks. But it usually goes around other prisons too, and you can time it, and guys will run out to the road and they'll bring in a big duffel bag, and it's usually full of cell phones, drugs, alcohol, like this reporter said. But I've never seen a gun in a camp, but you can order anything you want. Somebody will fulfill your order. To get a gun, though, probably about $500, because a cell phone was about $200. Maybe more. I don't know what he paid for the gun, but he ordered one. He got one, and it says a female. I don't know if it was his mother, his daughter, or his girlfriend, or his wife, but probably one of those 4 categories for the female. And he never. Sounds like the guy never fired a gun before, because when he went to shoot it, it didn't shoot. And he wasn't about to go, try it out the day before, because you'd hear that. So I don't think the guy knew what he was doing, but very angry, probably angry at the female that visited him for whatever reason. Maybe she didn't put $20 on his books. Who knows? I've seen guys yelling and screaming at women on the phone at prison, trying to run their whole household from a prison, phone. Get over it, guy. You're the one doing the time. You're the one who left them. You're the one who made all the choices and decisions that got you ended up in prison. So it's your fault you're there. It's not the woman's fault you're in prison. So be mad at yourself, not at the woman. But this guy was obviously still mad at the woman. But now what's going to happen is they're going to lock down all the camps right now. I'd imagine visiting's shut down in every camp, if not all of BOP, at least for probably 30 days, until they do a thorough investigation. And they're going to do lockdown and search. And they're going to keep everybody, except for certain jobs, like you got to go out and cook the food, do the laundry, things like that. Those guys will be allowed to go to their jobs. They're going to have to come right back. And they're going to search every nook and cranny of every prison in the whole United States. This is probably going to go on for at least 90 days. So, guys, if you have people in prison, don't plan on any visits probably for at least the next month, because of this Yahoo guy that, bought a gun from a prison camp and didn't even know how to fire it. And, they're going to be on lockdown. They're going to search. So the guys, if you're smoking cigarettes in the camp, hurry up and finish them. They're going to search everywhere. Okay. So while they're going to look for guns, and they're going to look for weapons, but they're going to look for cigarettes and drugs and alcohol and cell phones. If you got a cell phone in prison, like Frank over there in Leavenworth camp, Frank, you've been watching me on your cell phone and calling in on the show or in the chat room. Frank, you need to get rid of that cell phone today. This hour, Frank, get rid of your cell phone. They're going to be searching Leavenworth camp, Frank. So he's over there in Leavenworth camp. And Frank, I got a guy going to Leavenworth camp real soon. So he just called me. So Frank, call me on the regular phone, Frank, or email me. Get rid of your cell phone. And I'm not going to say your last name, but he's in Leavenworth camp and he's got a cell phone. He's been watching my show from prison. Frank, get rid of that. Don't hide it. No, get rid of it today. Today, Frank. They're going to be cracking down, okay? And if they find that cell phone on you, Frank, you're going to a low security, but first you're going to the hole for at least a 90-day investigation. You'll never be allowed back in the camp for at least 10 years. And I know you don't have 10 years to go, but you'll be behind a fence for the rest of your time, Frank. And if you're in I know, Frank, you got sent over there to do RDAP. Guess what? You're no longer allowed in RDAP. You're going to, all that year you're going to get off, that's gone. That's taken away. All your good time, taken away, Frank. Okay? I forget how much time you got sentenced, Frank. You're going to do every single day now. Unless you get rid of that cell phone today, Frank. If you're watching, get rid of that cell phone. So don't sell it, Frank. Okay? Don't give it to somebody. Don't rent it out. Get rid of the thing. Break it up into little pieces. Flush it down the toilet. Okay, Frank? Because they're going to find it, and they're going to trace every phone call ever made on it, Frank. And you're going to do every single day you got coming in prison. So I hope you're listening, Frank. I really hope that you got rid of the cell phone and you're not listening, but you probably are. So get rid of that cell phone, guys. All you people. Let me catch up on the comments here. Let's see. Richard says, yes. Kathy says, what is a enforcer in the AB? So that's the Aryan Brotherhood. An enforcer. I mean, it's, you break the rules, enforcer comes and enforces the rules. I don't want to say much about that, just saying Aryan Brotherhood could get me in trouble, but a lot of people know what AB stands for. And Kathy, you can call me or something, but I'm going to leave that one alone because that's just something, I don't talk about on YouTube. Richard, his smiley faces. Kathy says, sorry for all the questions, just trying to educate myself on all this. No problem. No, I love the questions. Some of them I just can't answer, Kathy. You're the one that got the husband in Florence, right? In the penitentiary, I think, right? Yeah. And Gengish, wherever you went, I guess you don't want to come on. Anybody else want to call in live? There's the number. Feel free. I might have another news story here. Unless somebody wants to call in live. Let me pop up on my other screen here while I'm talking to you. See if I got another news story. Let's see what I got here. Got the 8 people sentenced to Burlington methamphetamine conspiracy. I think I already did that one. So I got a couple clients, guys, and I'm writing them character reference letters, but I've been trying to send them tips, mistakes not to make on character reference letters, things like that. So maybe I'll just give you guys a little free thing here on how to write a character reference letter. If you guys know anybody getting ready to get sentenced, if you're going to get sentenced, here's some free little deals. I'll read you something. I'll do something on how to write a character reference letter for you guys. Let me pull it up here though. I thought I had it pulled up. Try it again here. So while I'm talking to you, still learning how to use all these buttons. Let me slide this over here. Okay. How to write a character reference letter. Here we go. All right, I'm going to give you guys some freebies here on how to write a character reference letter, okay? Let's see here. And let me pull up, get my little reader on here. And let me mute myself so it doesn't echo. So that's a little bit about how to write a character reference letter, guys. Let me get this off the screen. So what I do for people is I have 2 clients right now. I'm writing letters for them. One, I had to call his pastor and his sister, which I got an appointment with tomorrow. And we're going to go over the letter. Well, the pastor wrote a letter. I don't like it. I like what he put. I like his words, and they're honest and they're real. But a lot of typos. The format wasn't there. I'm going to revise it. I'm going to take his words and put them where it should be in the letter and then fill in some other things. His sister, I'm kind of going to ghost write it for him. We're going to work on it together. It's always going to be their words, what comes out of their heart, how they feel about the defendant and all that stuff. But I help them put the letter together. See, I call your family. I call your friends. I call your boss. I call your Uncle Joe, who used to be a cop. And together with your personal reference person that you give me, we work together and we get that letter. Then I send the letter to you. You okay it or you don't okay it. If you don't okay it, we work on it again. And then finally, you show it to your lawyer. If the lawyer says yes, then we're good to go. The lawyer says no, I start again, or you fire me. I haven't had any problem with lawyers yet, guys. So I charge $100 a letter. Everybody else is charging $1,000 a letter. So I think my price is pretty good. And nobody does what I do. They don't call your Uncle Joe. They don't call your pastor. They just give you templates and maybe give you little tips and stuff. So I go the extra mile. So, my number's there. And not that I'm trying to get more clients, but, I'm trying to start out the right way, guys. I've been doing these videos for 2 years, and I've been helping people for free for a long time. And, I got rent, I got bills. So maybe it's time I charged a little. But anybody who has no money, always call me. And I always do pro bono work for free for the guy who was like me, who had no money. So I'll never forget the guy who was like me. Anyways, enough of all that, guys. Let's catch up on some comments. Let's see where I'm at here. Kathy. Yes, he's in Florence. Yeah, he's in Florence Penitentiary. I know. And I gave you the rundown on what his life's probably like in there. And like I said, Kathy, if he'll listen to you, the first place he should hang out is the law library, and then hang out in the chapel. Not that he has to be religious or a Jesus freak or, turn to Muslims, become a Muslim or a Mormon or anything like that. But there's good people in the chapel and there's good people in the law library. Those are the 2 places I would start to build your camaraderie with other prison inmates. Those are the kind of guys you want to hang out with in a penitentiary, and really in any prison. Start at those 2 places. And there's good people in other, you find them in the arts and crafts room. You find them in the music room. You'll even find them in the pool hall. Yes, they have pool halls in prison, guys. Ours only had 2 pool tables. Bigger prisons have 10 pool tables. Music going and everything. You don't even know you're in prison. You're shooting pool, the music's going. So our music room was next to the pool hall. And what was it, Wednesday nights and Sundays afternoons? I had a band in prison, and we were rocking out. And you could hear us playing in the pool room, and you could hear the other bands playing on the other nights. So they're shooting pool, listening to live music in prison, drinking sodas, and maybe they had a little, Jim Beam in that Coca-Cola that they got from the side of the road in a prison camp. They have it a little better. But, you don't even know you're in prison. So there's some, but Kathy, he's not going to have all that good stuff in a penitentiary. They do have pool tables in there, and they do have music rooms, and they do have music going. But tell him to hang out at the law library or the chapel, okay? Let's catch up. Richard says, audio is good. Thanks, Richard. That's good to know. I'm working out the kinks, man. I'm getting there. Now he says audio is off. Uh-oh. First it's good, now it's off. Sean, the audio reader is off. Okay, well, I'm already done with that, so I don't know. And 20 years for drugs. Is that a camp? No, well, 10 years or less, you go to a camp. So anything more than 10 years, you're going to go to a low or medium. I think a medium is up to 15 years. Could be 20. But 20 years and up, you go into a medium or a penitentiary. But yeah, you can't do a camp till you get below 10 years. And that's Matt. He says no audio. What about now? You guys can't hear me? Uh-oh. Can't hear anything. Oh, shit. How about now? Mute mic. Can you hear me now? Oh, no. I've been just talking and nobody heard a thing? Why is that? Can somebody let me know if you can hear me now? Because everything, let me check my settings. Check. According to my settings, everything's working. And at 5:42, audio good now. Well, I'm not sure what you guys heard or what you didn't heard. And it was too much to repeat. I hope you guys can hear me. Anyways, guys, I'm probably going to wrap it up now. If anybody wants to call in live, now's your chance. I'll put it up here one more time. Let's see. If you want to call in live, you can. I'll give it like 2 minutes, maybe answer some comments. If not, I'm calling it a night, guys. So, yeah, I'm not sure where I got cut off with my audio. As far as I know, everything was working. Take this off the screen over here. I guess I thought I had everything solved. Well, I guess I still got more to learn. I know the audio is very important. I've heard even if they can't see very well, as long as they can hear you, they might stay tuned in. So let me ask you guys, any sci-fi fans out there? Time travel, Bigfoot, UFOs, reincarnation, ghosts. You know that show Coast to Coast with Art Bell AM? So my other channel, which was my personal channel, has 800 subscribers. I'm going to change the name, which doesn't take much. And I'm going to take all my karaoke videos and family pictures. I'm going to put those all like on a private thing. And I want to start like a sci-fi time travel UFO talk show like Coast to Coast AM. And I need a name because prison's great and I'll keep this channel going. But I'm going to launch this other channel. And I need suggestions for a name. I'm thinking Time Space Continuum Talk. Next Gen, Coast to Coast. Coast to Coast Next Generation. Art Bell, The Legend Continues. Time Travel Talk. I don't know, anything like that? You guys got any suggestions? Let me know. When you were using the text reader, there was no sound. That's all. Huh. So you just saw the words. All right. I'll look into that because, man, that went on for a little while too. But at least you could read the words. All right. I got more kinks to figure out. So if anybody has any suggestions for that other channel, if there's any time travel fans out there, because that's one of my little sidekicks. I always wanted to travel back in time, guys, and change, really not my past, but change, I don't know. I'll save that for the show, for the other channel. I know you guys are prison people, and you know, every day of my life is prison, guys. I work for Wings for Life, so we help the families, like people like Kathy, while you're out here in the free world and your husband's doing time. We know the hell that you go through, Kathy, and he left you high and dry, and maybe you're going to wait for him, and maybe you won't. Today, you're going to wait for him. You may change your mind next week and not want to wait for him. Whatever the deal is, Kathy, your life's not the same. So Wings for Life International. And you can, I have the number underneath all my videos. Give us a call, Kathy, and anything we can do to help you through this time of your life. That's what we do at Wings for Life. And we also help people coming out of prison. Then I got this channel. Then I got the little consulting prison services company I just started. I'm helping people get a better outcome on their sentence. I get calls from you guys all day long. I do this channel. I work with a couple of guys I did time with. I got them jobs at Wings for Life. So every day of my life is something to do with prison. So my little time travel talk show that I want to do is going to be a little relief. I'm probably just going to start off with Sunday nights. Maybe I'll, add to that later. But So that's something I want to maybe try to get ready by this weekend. I don't see any suggestions for a title yet, but let's see. Richard says, John Powers has a channel called The Time Traveler. Okay, I looked that up, and that's taken. Yeah. Time Traveler Talk. Because I want to do live call-in like Art Bell did on Coast to Coast. So I want to have people call in and read comments. And I have a couple guests lined up. I got a guy that works at Sandia Laboratories here in Albuquerque. He's a scientist. But he's, is it the word intern? He just started there. He just graduated, got his PhD and his master's. He just started at Sandia Laboratories. And I do karaoke with this guy, and he's going to come on the show. I got another guy who starred in a TV series called what's it called? The Mist. Oh, God. Well, he was an actor. He used to be a cop. He's been a teacher, and he was an actor in a couple sci-fi series. And I just met him last week at one of our Wings for Life conventions things. He's going to come on the show, talk about his sci-fi experience as an actor. So I got 2 guests lined up. So that's all coming later on this month. And I'll be promoting that channel. Anyways, guys, I guess that's it. Nobody's calling in live. No more comments. Tomorrow night, though, I got Hadley Jones coming on. He just got sentenced to Leavenworth Camp, where Frank Hadley's coming to join you. So, Frank, if you haven't got rid of that cell phone, Hadley's coming over there, and he's got to turn himself in, I think, on the 28th of this month. He's coming to look for you, and he's going to say, Sean said you better get rid of that damn cell phone, Frank. So he'll be there on the 28th, and he's going to make sure you get rid of that cell phone. So, Frank, you get rid of that cell phone. So Hadley's coming on tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock East Coast Time, and that's 5 o'clock Pacific. And he's got to turn himself in. He got 27 months to do at Leavenworth Camp, where Frank is. And I'm not going to say your last name, Frank, but if you don't get rid of that phone soon, I will start saying your last name, Frank, because he's on his cell phone watching the show, guys. And Hadley's coming over there, Frank. You're going to get rid of that phone. So join me tomorrow night, guys, and ask Hadley some questions. He's been on my show a few weeks back, but now he finally got his designation papers. And so anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. Thanks for watching, guys.